are inclusive of VAT.
Honorable Béranger.
Item 22,900 over goods and services. Can we have a breakdown, please?
Uniforms, provision made for payment of uniform to driver, office auxiliaries, and officers of the procurement and supply cadre and receptionist, catering, hospitality and ceremonies, and service charges.
Honorable Nagalingam.
22070 cleaning services. Can I know who is the contractor, please?
Cleaning, provision made for cleaning of office premises, regular deep cleaning due to safety of some prison. Maintenance car parking annex to CPB. Will table, we don't have the name. Will be circulated, we don't have it with us.
Honorable Navarre.
So thank you. Item 21110, personal emoluments. Could we know the composition of the Central Procurement Board and the fees paid to each of the members?
So the composition of this CPB board and monthly remuneration, Mr. Prayag, Chairman, 164,650 rupees. Mr. Ragan, Vice Chairman, 139,000 rupees, 650 rupees. Mr. Chagru, Vice Chairman, 139,650 rupees. Mr. Senek, Member, 89,650 rupees. Mr. Serali, 89,650 rupees. Mr. Ramdoni, 89,650 rupees.
We now move to page 219. $219. Pas de questions? 220, page 220. No? Okay. So the question is that the sum of 74,900,000 rupees for both Central Procurement Board is 10 part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye, those against say no.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Vote 7, Free Treasury.
The question is that the sum of 231,600,000 rupees for both 7.3 Treasury is 10 part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye, those against say no.
Aye.
So Treasury, it is section 7.3. We start from page 221 up to page 223, and we got 5 minutes for that. Honorable Utim.
Yes, item 22060, maintenance, IT equipment, 44 million rupees. May we know from the Honorable Minister who these maintenance fees are paid to?
Okay, so I will table it later. Okay, I don't have it with me. I can give the description of the what is it for the. You've got the renewal of Oracle licenses. Yeah, at 27,600,000 rupees. IT application service and Oracle support. 2,700,000 rupees. Hardware maintenance agreement. Task server. 13,700,000 rupees. I will table the name of the supplier.
Honorable Juman.
Page 222.
No, 20.
Item 31.
Which page you are?
222.
No, we are still on page 221.
You said you are taking all the free page.
Any more question on page 221? Okay, then you can have a question.
31.122.802, acquisition of IT equipment. We know if the contract has already been allocated and to whom?
Provision made for acquisition of a new server costing 45 million rupees to replace an existing server, which was purchased in-house, HRMIS and TAS, and which currently has a high maintenance cost. You have asked whether we have done this provision.
Contract already allocated for a new one?
Honorable Dr. Boulel.
Very much, sir. Intangible fixed asset, decimal 81, acquisition of software with a budgetary provision of 7.8 billion. If the Minister be kind enough to tell us who is the supplier of this software, please.
Of software, upgrading of TAS from version R12.1.x to R12.2.8. Just give me 1 second. Not yet awarded.
Page 223, unless anyone has got a question on 222. 223? No? So the question is that the sum of 231,600,000 rupees for vote 7-3 Treasury is 10 part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye, those against say no.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Vote 7-4, Statistics Mauritius.
The question is that the sum of 281,800,000 rupees for vote 7-4 Statistics Mauritius is 10 part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye, those against say no.
Aye.
We got 5 minutes for this section 7.4, which starts as page 224 and it goes up to page 226. So we start from page 224. Dr. Honorable Boulel.
Thank you very much, sir. Item 22.130, studies and surveys, with a budgetary provision that has decreased compared to last year's estimate. So I suppose some of the surveys and studies have been completed. So if the Minister could inform the House as to the number of studies and surveys carried out and the number of studies that have been made public.
So the decrease in provision is mainly due to completion of housing and population census and to cater for ongoing surveys for household budget survey, census of economic activities, continuous multipurpose household survey, and new plan for census of agriculture and living conditions survey.
Honorable Lakshman Roy.
Thank you, Chair. Under item 22.120, fees, can the Honourable Minister provide details pertaining to this item? Thank you.
Fees to chairmen and members of board and committees. So you've got the chairperson is Mr. Cartier, 50,000 rupees monthly. Mr. Daunat, 20,000 monthly. Ramkelon, 20,000 monthly. Mr. Itu, 20,000 rupees monthly. Mr. Toplan, 20,000 rupees monthly. Mr. Genodi, 20,000 rupees monthly. Mr. Ramasomi, 20,000 rupees monthly. Mr. Bigu, 20,000 rupees. You've got also fees for training. There are provision made to meet expenses in relation to training of staff. Got also in service training for statistical officers, senior statistical officers. The different training is certificate in advanced statistic, certificate in data science and programming, training in advanced Excel, Civil Service College Mauritius course.
Thank you. Honorable Amir.
Yes, thank you, Chair. On page 224, I'll come back to the studies and surveys, 22.130. The Minister just gave the reason for the decrease. But I will ask him, every year, a huge amount last year, it was 300 million, this year 100 million. What is the details and the components of such a huge figure?
So for the surveys, 30 million rupees for the around 30 million rupees for the housing and population census, 29.7 million rupees household budget survey, 13.7 million rupees census of economic activities, 17.8 million rupees continuous multipurpose household survey, 3.2 million rupees survey of inbound, outbound and domestic visitors, consumer price index, 1 million rupees, living condition survey, 3.6 million rupees, census of agriculture, 1.1 million rupees.
Thank you. We now move to page 225. Dr. Honorable Bulel? No? Honorable Lakshman Roy?
Thank you, Chair. Under item 31132.103, intangible fixed assets, statistical e-platform, Mustat. Can we have a status on this, please? Thank you.
The implementation of Mustat is co-funded by Statistic Mauritius and the UNDP as follows. Statistic Mauritius contribution $500,000, the UNDP 100,000 USD. A part payment of $500,000 by Statistic Mauritius has already been effected in financial year 2021-2022. A tender to procure the service of a solution provider was launched by the UNDP. No bid was retained by UNDP since price quoted were higher than the project value. Consequently, UNDP relaunched the bidding exercise. New bids received have been evaluated by UNDP. The contract has already been allocated and the supplier has already started to work since May 2023.
Honorable Navamari?
Yes, thank you. Item 31122.802, acquisition of IT equipment. Last year we voted a sum of 10 million rupees, and this year we are asked to vote a sum of 5 million rupees. Could we know who is the supplier for last year?
The provision was made for the purchase of IT equipment for new offices. The supplier is Lille Communications and Informatic Limited and Softel Computer Services Limited.
Thank you. We now move to page 226. The question is that the sum of 281,800,000 rupees for vote 7-4 is Statistics Mauritius is then part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it.
Vote 7-5, Corporate and Business Registration Department.
The question is that the sum of 157 million rupees for vote 7-5, Corporate and Business Registration Department is then part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye, those against say no.
Aye.
So here we're talking of
5 minutes.
8 minutes. 8 minutes, and we have 3 pages, 227, 28, and 229. We start with Honorable 2.
Chairperson, vote item 22900, decimal 036, expenses in connection with extensible business reporting. May we have the detail of this reporting system?
Provision made for payment to Mauritius Network Services for electronic filing of financial statements in XBRL format for large companies as to create a standardized format for financial reporting. The decrease in provision is due to turnover threshold for small private companies, which has increased from 50 million to 100 million rupees.
Honorable Amir Mia.
Yes, on page 227, rent 22030, rent with an amount of 23 million rupees. May we have the details and the breakdown of this figure?
Right. Increase in provision as per existing contractual agreement. Rental of building as renting of office space at a monthly all-inclusive rent of 1.184 million rupees at 1 cathedral square Port Louis. Office space at 1 cathedral square at a monthly all-inclusive rent of 143,000 rupees. Office space again at 1 cathedral square at a monthly all-inclusive rent of 346,000 rupees. Rental of parking slots, 2 parking slots payable to Max City Property Limited, and rental of facilities for events, provision made to meet expenses in connection with workshop to be organized by CBRD.
Thank you. Honorable Kira, welcome back.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 22060, maintenance, an amount of nearly 12 million has been budgeted for 23-24. Can we have some details regarding this amount, please?
Yes, provision made for maintenance, cost of building, plants and equipment. And also for buildings 50 million. No, 50,000, sorry. Plants and equipment 100,000. Vehicles and motorcycles 135,000 rupees. For IT equipment, there's a provision of 11,700,000 rupees for the maintenance.
Honorable Nagalingam.
Item 22070, cleaning services. I see there has been an increase. Can I know detail of that item and who is the contractor?
Provision made for payment of cleaning fees to Moriclean Limited and Hygiene Team Services for a monthly amount of 25 million, for 25,000 as per new contract agreement.
Honorable Utim.
Yes, 2220 fees. So, may I know this 1 million rupees is payable for what purpose?
Increase in provision as more officers will be attending training courses. Fees to chairperson and members of boards and committees. The chairman the chairman is Jean-Paul de Chazal. The members are Mr. Jagannath, Mr. Chung, Mr. Sokping, Miss Bandon.
Thank you. We now move to page 228. We start with Honorable Lakshman Roy.
Thank you, Chair. Under item 31132, intangible fixed asset, decimal 401, upgrading of ICT infrastructure, corporate and business registration integrated system 3.0. This seems to be a new item in this budget. Can you please provide more details with regard to this ICT infrastructure upgrading? Thank you.
So the CBRIS, Corporate and Business Registration Integrated System 3.0, was developed in 2006 to enable online incorporation of companies. This platform consisted of only an online form for incorporation and online database. Over the years, the CBRIS was upgraded and modules were added to the platform to cater for the new roles of the CBRIS. However, the current system has some structural issues which need to be addressed for a more efficient process to start a business. The online payment module is outdated, lack of statistics, inability to reconcile data from the MNS from end and the CBRIS in some cases, and pushing data from CBRIS to MNS, inability to view certificate issued by the CBRD, updated and addition of new modules on the CBRIS is a lengthy process, one system and different portals, and frequent system downtime. Taking into consideration the issues mentioned, a new architecture, the CBRIS 3.0, incorporating the front end and back end of the system, has to be developed to cater for all the activities of the CBRD. This program will cost approximately 30 million rupees and will be implemented over 3 years.
Thank you. Honorable Béranger. Honorable 2. So we move to page 229. Dr. Honorable Boulel.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, the position titles are funded, but there are 3 posts which are yet to be filled. Vacancies exist.
Which line? Number?
No, the word 7.5. You'll see that, there are 3 posts, 3 vacancies yet to be filled.
The total you're talking about? Total.
Yeah, total.
Okay. Total.
Yes.
When these vacancies are going to be filled?
The scheme of service is being finalized.
Honorable Utim.
Under item 11, deputy official receiver, there is no amount budgeted to fill this position. So may I know from the Honorable Minister the number of cases that is currently being handled by the official receiver and whether he feels that it is adequately staffed? Why we're not appointing this deputy?
There is no provision. The scheme of service for the post is under process. One chief compliance officer has been assigned the duties of the post against payment of an allowance.
Time is over. The question is that the sum of 157 million rupees for vote 7.5, Corporate and Business Registration Department, stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it.
Vote 7.6, Registrar General's Department.
The question is that the sum of 166... I'll take again, Dr. Boulel, if you can just avoid interrupting me, please. The question is that the sum of 166,500,000 rupees for 476 Registrar General's Department stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no.
Aye.
We got 5 minutes for this item, for this vote, and we got 3 pages, 230, 231, and 232. We start from page 230. We got a question from Honorable Amia.
On page 230, item number 21,110.005, extra assistance. May I have the details and the breakdown of this figure?
Provision is made for the recruitment on contractual basis of an attorney for a period of 1 year who will be responsible for the recovery of arrears of taxes and duties. Provision.
Honorable Nagalingam.
Item 22060, maintenance. There has been an increase. Can we have more details?
Increase is mainly due to a rise in the cost of maintenance of plant and equipment, mainly air conditioners and of IT equipment. and increase in exchange rate.
Honorable Béranger.
Thank you. Item 21110, personal emoluments. Peut-on savoir qui est à la tête du Registrar General Department, s'il vous plaît?
Mrs. Deonani Arinag is the Registrar General since her appointment on 17 February 2021.
We move to page 231. Dr. Honorable Boulel.
Thank you very much, sir. Capital expenditure item 31, 132, decimal 401, upgrading of ICT infrastructure, with a budgetary provision of 32 million. Will the Minister be kind enough to inform the House as to whom the contract has been awarded, whether it was an open bid or a restrictive bid? Thank you.
Increase is due to provision being made for renovation work and upgrading of toilets and installation of handrails on 3 ledges of the 6th floor of the Emmanuel Anctil building. Contract not been awarded yet.
Honorable Dulab.
Thank you, Chair. Same item number, decimal 802, acquisition of IT equipment. We note an increase of around 6.4 million. Can we have the reasons thereof? Thank you.
Acquisition of IT equipment, acquisition of Norway registered development equipment at GOC reaching end of life and needing replacement. So you've got the sound system, 350,000 rupees. The sound storage, 1,500,000 rupees. The controller, including the license, also at 6 million rupees. The switch network at 100,000 rupees. 36 PCs at 2.1 million rupees, 19 all-in-one at 1.4 million rupees, and 30 tablets at 600,000 rupees.
Honorable Kiran.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On the same item, which is upgrading of ICT infrastructure, for 2022-23, an amount of 33.94 million was earmarked. Can we know from this amount how much was spent and to whom the contract was awarded?
So, upgrading of ICT infrastructure in financial year 2022-2023, the MERP Enhancement MasterCard Payment Gateway Service implementation in May 2023, 22,272 USD. The MERP Enhancement Interest Rate Module, 29,400 USD. That's what has been expended.
Honorable 2. Honorable Ashman Roy.
Already canvassed.
Thank you. We then move to page 232. No question? The question is that the sum of 166,500,000 rupees for both 7-6 Registrar General's Department stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Centralized Services of Government, vote 23-1, centrally managed expenses of government.
The question is that the sum of 3,550,000,000 rupees for vote 23-1, centrally managed expenses of government stand part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Aye. So we are on page 474, and we have 10 minutes for this item. Honorable here I see 474.
Yes.
474 here?
Yeah.
Honorable Mayot.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Item 22180, mission expenses, ministers, delegates, and officials. Can the Honorable Minister give us more details about that item? Thank you.
The provision is required as follows: 113 million for meeting the cost of air tickets, hotel accommodation, and per diem for overseas mission undertaken by ministers, delegates, and officials, and 15 million to meet the cost of participation of Mauritius in respect of G20 meetings in India.
Done? Honorable Amia.
Yes, on page 474, on centrally managed expenses for government, can I ask the Honorable Minister on item number 21210, defined contribution pension scheme, where is in an amount of 800 million what is being budgeted. May we have the details and breakdown, but also the mechanism behind how we arrive at this estimate, as this budget of 800 million, and also it is in respect to which ministry, whether we have local authorities and statutory bodies included in it?
The scheme is in respect of officers joining the civil service as from January 2013. The 2013 PRB report recommended the implementation of a contributory defined contribution pension scheme for all new entrants in the public sector, central government, local authorities, RRA, and all parastatal bodies as from January 2013 to ensure the long-term sustainability of pension funds. And the provision for all ministries are centralized expenses.
Honorable members, just to avoid any confusion, I had already announced yesterday that, keeping with past practices, the votes for centralized services of government will be taken out of turn. Okay? So let's give a chance to Honorable Danu now.
Thank you, Chair. Under item 28211, transfers to non-profit institution, 0.024, financial support to religious bodies. Can you have more details from the Honorable Minister?
So, provision made for payment of a monthly grant to religious bodies under two schemes, namely the per capita subsidy scheme and the fixed grant scheme. The increase in provision, there is a high provision made to cater for a 15% increase in the grant to religious bodies as from July 2023. In addition, a one-off grant of 10 million will be provided to religious bodies from the National Resilience Fund. Presently, there are 11 federations that are benefiting from the per capita subsidy scheme. These federations are as follows: Roman Catholic Diocese, Mauritian Sanatan Dharma Temple Federation, Board of Wakaf Commissioners, Mauritius Tamil Temple Federation, Arya Sabha Mauritius, Mauritius Arya Ravivet Pancharini Sabha, Mauritius Galu Rajput Mahasabha, Mauritius Telugu Mahasabha, Mauritius Marathi Mandali Federation, Anglican Diocese of Mauritius, and Presbyterian Church.
Thank you. Dr. Honorable Bulel, please.
Thank you very much, sir. item 22180, mission expenses. I see that there's been a provision being made in this year for the next financial year. And this is quite substantial, 120 million. Can we be apprised as to how this money is going to be spent? Who's flying, who will not fly, who will stay, who will use AI, you know? So.
The Honorable Minister saying he just provided the information.
Provided they stay behind.
Sorry?
Provided they don't fly.
Yeah,
I just give details, I can come back on it.
No need to come back on that. We've got several questions. Let's listen to Honorable Kira.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 22160, overseas training. An amount of 12 million has been budgeted for 23-24. Can we have some details regarding this item?
Provision required in respect of overseas training programs for public officers. The provision is made up as follows: 7 million rupees for payment of air tickets and 5 million rupees for payment of subsistence allowance. Prior to financial year 2023-2024, the cost of overseas training was being met under item 22180, mission expenses, to this vote.
Honorable Lakshman Roy.
Already canvassed, but I have one for 475, page 475.
745 is another section. Another vote. Honorable Ashyavadan.
Je voudrais retourner sur la question de l'honorable Boulel à la page 474, l'item 2280. Mission expenses dont le ministre n'a pas répondu. Et
non, j'ai répondu.
Je peux? Can I? Yeah. Oui. Alors, je vois que l'augmentation de 50 millions à 128 millions. Est-ce qu'il y a des conférences qui ont apparu pour que le gouvernement décide de voyager à cette vitesse l'année prochaine?
So I'm going to start again because, I will come back on this. Provision was required as follows: 113 million for meeting the cost of air tickets, hotel accommodation and per diem for overseas mission undertaken by ministers, delegates and officials, and 15 million to meet the cost of participation of Mauritius in respect of G20 meetings in India. So I can give some more detail. As at 31st May 2023, 102.3 million has been as follows: 47 million for purchase of air tickets, 49 million for subsistence allowance, 3.3 million for hotel accommodation, and 2.2 million for other expenses such as traveling costs. The provision for mission expense was reduced significantly following the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. In fact, in 2013, 10 years back, a sum of 113.6 million rupees was spent on overseas mission. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Kim.
Yes, thank you. On this very same item, 22,180 mission expenses, and from the Honorable Minister, out of the 128 million that is budgeted, what is the amount budgeted for mission relating to parliamentary affairs of the speakers and members of parliament?
I don't have this.
And the Parlement officer?
As and when.
You may be surprised. So we take the vote. The question is that the sum of 3,550 million rupees for both 23-1 centrally managed expenses of government is 10 part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it.
Vote 24-1, centrally managed initiatives of government.
The question is that the sum of 20 billion 475 million rupees for both 24-1 centrally managed initiative of government is 10 part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no.
Aye.
So we got 15 minutes for this item and 15 minutes for this item, and we start from page 475 to 477. Honorable Usman Mohammed.
Thank you, Chair. Item 22,900.098, expenses in connection, demolition of building and structure, 100 million rupees has been budgeted this year. Could this be referring to the Emmanuel Octil building by any chance? Because we've debated a lot on this in Parliament, and the leader of the opposition has even qualified it as a coup d'etat.
You put your question. That's the minister.
I'm not going in the remarks. I'm just going to give some information. Yes, provision made to meet expenses in connection with the demolition of the Emmanuel Octil building.
Thank you. Honorable Utim.
Under item 2110.010 service to Mauritius program. May I know from the Honorable Minister the number of people who applied for a post and the number thereof which was given a position under that program last year?
Provision was made for payment of allowance to 300 interns under the Service to Mauritius program. Presently, there are 201 interns, including 7 laureates and 2 persons with disability, who have been posted in various ministries and departments. It is expected that some 99 interns would be enlisted in the next financial year.
Thank you. Honorable Danu.
Thank you, Chair. Under item 25210, non-financial private enterprise, 0.008, VAT refund scheme for planters, breeders, fishers, and other specific sectors. Can the Honorable Minister provide how many planters, breeders has benefited from this scheme?
As at May 2023, 4.5 million has been refunded to some 305 beneficiaries as follows: 3.6 million to 213 small planters, 0.8 million rupees to 80 fishermen, 7,500 rupees to 1 breeder, 25,944 rupees to 1 apiculturist, 20,804 rupees to 90 cultivators, and 11,523 to 1 cooperative.
Thank you. Dr. Honorable Bulel.
Item 22,120 fees, of which expert skills scheme. Now, budgetary provision of 35 million. If we can be apprised as to how the fees have been paid, we can have a breakdown in relation to fees paid to experts skills.
Provision made for procurement of the services of experts and specialized professionals by ministries and departments for timely design, implementation, and operationalization of public sector policies, projects, and schemes. Presently, the services of 27 experts have been retained in some areas where there are a lack of skills and expertise. As at 31st May 2023, some 16 million rupees has been spent on the procurement of services of the 27 experts. 4.3 million in respect of 4 experts in legal services, 3.5 million in respect of 4 consultants for project implementation, management, and design, 3.1 million rupees for the services of 4 experts in information technology, 2.2 million rupees in respect of 9 consultants in e-procurement, 1.6 million rupees in respect of 3 consultants for land surveying, and 1.3 million rupees in respect of 3 consultants in other priority areas.
Thank you. Honorable Amimia.
Thank you, Chair. Item number 22030, rent. It's a new provision of 100 million every year starting in 2023-24. May I know this rent in respect of which building to be rented?
Provision made for rental of office space to accommodate ministries and departments presently located at the Emmanuel Anctil building.
Honorable Tour. Honorable Béranger.
L'honorable ministre peut-il déposer la liste de ces consultants et experts, s'il vous plaît, les 27 consultants et experts qu'il a,
Under which item?
qu'il a cités sous l'item 2220.040. Merci.
Oui. Yes.
Okay. Honorable Nagalingam. So we move to page 476 then. And, Honorable Danu.
Thank you, Chair. Item 28214, transfers to Public Financial Corporation, .001, Mauritius Africa Fund. Can we know from the Honorable Minister the members and their remuneration on the Mauritius Africa Fund?
So, the current board composition is as follows. We have Mr. Servan Singh, who is the chairman, Mr. Ramnyal, Mr. Somali, Mr. Sonu, Mr. Venkatasamy, and Mr. Somi, who are members of the Mauritius Africa Fund. The chairperson has a fee of 40,000 rupees and the other directors 20,000 rupees.
Thank you. Honorable Juman.
28213, décimal 0.29, STC. Je vois qu'il y a 500 millions de roupies qui étaient alloués à la STC, maintenant 250 millions de roupies. Peut-on savoir de 500 millions de roupies étaient utilisés pour quoi?
Provision has been made for a contribution to the price stabilization account for Mogas, if required, so as to enable the State Trading Corporation to maintain the price of Mogas at 69 rupees per litre.
Thank you.
And you were asking for 22-23. So, as at date, 334.2 million has been spent as follows. 275 million rupees as contribution to the price stabilization account, 59.2 million rupees to enable STC to supply edible oil at subsidized price of 75 rupees per litre.
Thank you. Honorable Amiamia.
Thank you, Chair. On page 476, item number 26333.205, National Resilience Fund. There is an amount of 4 billion which is being budgeted this year. May I ask the Honourable Minister, why is it that we are transferring again 4 billion rupees when at the 30th of June 2022, the Director of Audit mentioned that we have 4.1 billion rupees in this fund?
Provision required to enable the National Resilience Fund to part finance schemes and programs being implemented under that fund. For financial year 23-24, it is expected that some 7 billion rupees will be required for financing of various schemes and programs. This includes the 2 billion rupees for refund of registration duty, 1.3 billion rupees for biomass framework and support to planters and farmers, 700 million rupees for Mauritius Tourism Promotion Authority schemes, 408 million rupees for schemes being implemented by the Economic Development Board, 400 million rupees are scheme for companies under industrial electricity tariff, 288 million rupees for training and development schemes, and 200 million rupees for the development of vaccine and pharmaceutical sector.
Honorable Mayut.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Item 28.216, transfers to regional and international organization. Can the Honorable Minister give us more detail about the Regional Multidisciplinary Center for Excellence, please? Decimal 0.0011. Thank you.
Provision made as per the host agreement between government and RMC to meet operational expenses of the center, such as rental of building, utilities, stationaries, and salaries of staff. As at 31st May 2023, 2.9 million rupees has been disbursed under this item. The RMC was incorporated on 29th March 2010 by 3 members, namely Government of Mauritius, COMESA Secretariat, and Indian Ocean Commission. It is a regional initiative driven by the Government of Mauritius and developed in consultation with the EU and the World Bank, as well as regional trade blocs, namely COMESA, SADC, and OIC member states. The RMCE aims at improving the capacity for policy making in the Eastern and Southern African region and the small states.
Thank you. Honorable David.
Chair, item number 28.217, decimal 005, little a, refund scheme for recycling of PET bottles. Je vois qu'à partir de cette nouvelle année financière, il y a un budget de 30 millions de roupies qui est prévu. S'agit-il de la mise en place du nouveau dispositif de Deposit Refund Scheme annoncé dans le nouveau budget? Et si oui, quelle est la base de calcul en termes de nombre de bouteilles collectées et recyclées pour arriver à ce montant?
Higher provision has been made because the rate of refund for recycling of use per bottle for domestic purposes will increase from 15 rupees per kilo to 30 rupees per kilo. And it's a policy decision.
Honorable Utim.
You, Chair. Under item 28.214, decimal 001, Mauritius Africa Fund Limited. Everywhere we are asked to vote around 20 million rupees for that company. May I know from the Honorable Minister, up to now, how much money has been invested by that company in projects, in
The main achievement initiated, carried out, government has to date injected a total amount of 180 million into the company as equity. Then I'm going to say, sign G2G MOUs and framework agreements for the implementation of projects. These projects with the government authorities of Senegal, Ghana, Côte d'Ivoire, Madagascar, and Kenya for the development of special economic zone projects. Developed the appropriate corporate structures and incorporated the special purpose vehicles to harbor the projects and facilitate investment into the development of the projects. Established and consolidated partnership with multilateral agencies including World Bank, IMF, African Development Bank, Fonds de Solidarité Africain, African Finance Corporation, Afrexim Bank. That's it.
Honorable Dulab.
Can we move to page 477?
Okay.
Item number 32.145, decimal 200, regarding setting up of SME parks by the DBM. Can we have more details for this item, please?
Provision made for a loan to DBM in connection with construction of 3 SME industrial parks as follows: 15 million for industrial park at Plaine Magnan, 18 million rupees for industrial park at Vilma, and 117 million rupees for industrial park at Solferino.
You're done?
Done.
Honorable Kira, last one.
On page 476, is it?
477.
477, yeah. Item 32255.108, Fonds de Solidarité Africain. An amount of 160 million budgeted for 23-24. Can we know if it is a new fund? And can we have some details also regarding this item?
In December 2008, a new constitution of the fund was approved and provided for an increase of the authorized share capital of the fund from FCFA 10 billion to 30 billion FCFA. Mauritius has signed this constitution in 2008 and committed itself to subscribe to the share capital. The FSA currently has 16 member states, namely Benin, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Central African Republic, Côte d'Ivoire, Gabon, Mali, Mauritius, Niger, Rwanda, Senegal, Chad, Togo, Guinea-Bissau, Mauritania, and Guinea.
Dr. Honorable Boulel.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, item 28-16, AfriTax Health and IMF Training Institute. The objective is to turn Mauritius into a regional training center with the help of multilateral agencies. Now, 183 million budgeted in the financial year 23-24. If you can have a breakdown as to how this money is being spent, and would Minister tell us whether the training institute is functional and operating? Thank you.
Which item you want?
Provision. Provision.
Just hold on. Dr. Honorable, we are on page 477 already. I'm sorry for that. Honorable Mia.
Okay. On page 477, item number 32155, shares and equity participation, Metro Express Limited. Last year, an amount of 1.3 billion was budgeted, and this year, 1,375 million rupees. Can I ask the Honorable Minister, what is and what has been the total amount that has been invested in Metro Express Limited, and also what is your expected rate of return in such a massive investment?
As at date, government has made an equity injection of 13.8 billion rupees into the Metro Express Limited. The provision required for equity injection in Metro Express to enable the company to meet expenditures follows: 575 million rupees for phase 1, 2, and 3, consisting of the following: 150 million for project supervision, 262 million rupees for ancillary works, 163 million for refund of taxes, 800 million rupees for phase 4, consisting of 220 million for project supervision, 97 million for consultancy fees, 303 million for ancillary works, and 180 million for refund of taxes and other associated expenses.
We have exceeded time by 4 minutes. So the question is that the sum of 20,475 million rupees for both 24-1 centrally managed initiatives of government is then part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye, those against say no.
Aye.
Vote 25-1, contingencies and reserves.
The question is that the sum of 800 million rupees for vote 25-1, contingencies and reserve is then part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye, those against say no.
Aye.
So we got 8 minutes for this item, and it is on page 478. Honorable Amiamio.
Every year, with an amount of 800 million rupees, what is budgeted? May I know from last year's figure how much has been paid in terms of...
I am not the speaker.
Sorry?
I am not the speaker.
Mr. Chair, how much has been paid in terms of recurrent and capital contingencies?
So, the provision made in line with Section 5 of the Finance and Audit Act to meeting urgent and unforeseen expenditure arising during the course of this year. As at 31st May 2023, out of the voted provision of 800 million rupees, a total sum of 769.2 million rupees has been reallocated as follows: 569.2 million rupees from the recurrent provision of 600 million rupees and 200 million rupees from the capital provision of 200 million rupees.
Honorable Tim, in fact,
the purpose of reallocation, 569.2 million rupees has been reallocated for the following purposes: 300 million rupees for the payment of passage benefits to public officers, 168 million rupees for acquisition of security equipment, 55 million rupees for mission expenses following the easing of travel restriction worldwide, 10 million for the hosting of Commonwealth law ministers, 2.4 million for meeting expenses, including the hosting of the Africa Middle East Joint Group meeting in Mauritius, 1.2 million for meeting expenses, and a new vote for Judicial and Legal Service Commission. The 200 million rupees has been reallocated as follows: 61 million rupees for payment of subscription to Fonds de Solidarité Africain in respect of capital call and Fonds spécial de bonification, 79 million rupees for acquisition of security equipment, 60 million rupees in respect of IMF SDR purchase to finance a purchase by Seychelles.
In fact, for this item, it concerns both pages 478 and 479. Honorable Tim, you got a question?
It's okay, already answered.
Which page? Any questions on page 478? If you haven't got any, go Honorable 2.
Thank you, Chairperson. Item 26313.007, Civil Service Family Protection Scheme. Can we have some details on the screen on the increase of this provision?
Statutory charge is not voted.
Honorable Tim?
Yes, on government debt servicing, item 100.
Yes.
Page 79 concerns
the statutorily charged. So it's not voted. It's not a vote item.
Okay. Okay.
Do not require appropriation.
Okay. So we move for the vote. The question is that the sum of 800 million rupees for vote 25-1, contingencies and reserves is 10 part of the schedule. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Aye. The ayes have it. Honorable members, I suspend the sitting for 10 minutes.